My dear viewers, now discuss physical and chemical changes based on ICSE Class 7. Now discuss Part 3. Part 3 discuss for the question answer. Before discuss Part 1 related to summary of physical chemical changes and Part 2 discuss the very short question answer. To take the Part 1 and Part 2, please show the decision box. Now discuss Part 3. At first, define the following term. Desirable changes. Desirable changes. Okay. Changes that are useful to us are known as desirable changes. Example, cooking of food, repairing of fruits, blooming a flower, etc. Okay. Next, exothermic changes. Changes in which there is release of energy in the form of heat are known as exothermic changes. Example, burning of fuels. Next, boiling. The process in which a liquid gets converted into its vapor state when heated at a particular temperature is known as boiling. No new substance are formed during the boiling. Okay. Next, dissolution. The process in which in solid is mixed or dissolved in a liquid to form a solution is known as dissolution. When salt is dissolved in a liquid, it forms a mixture. Okay. Next, rusting. The process in which iron objects form a reddish-brown flaky substance on their substance when they come in contact with moisture and oxygen. Moisture and oxygen in the air is known as rusting. Okay. Next question type, differentiate between the following. First, natural and artificial changes. Natural changes, changes that occur in nature are known as natural changes. Example, growth of plant or a baby. Artificial changes, changes that are made to happen or caused by human activities are known as artificial changes. Example, cooking of food. Okay. Next difference, fast and slow changes. Fast changes, changes that take place in a very short period of time are known as fast changes. Example, burning of matchstick. Next, slow changes. Changes that take place over a long period of time are known as slow changes. Example, growth of baby into adult. Okay. Next difference, periodic and non-periodic changes. Periodic changes, that is changes that repeat after a fixed interval of time, are known as periodic changes. Example, change in season. Okay. Next difference with the non-periodic changes. Changes that not repeated after a fixed interval of time and can occur any time are known as non-periodic changes. Example, occurrence of cyclone. Okay. Next difference between melting and freezing. Melting. Melting, the process in which a solid gets converted into its liquid state. When heated is known as melting. For example, when ice is heated, it melt into from water. Okay. Next, fizzing, the process in which a liquid gets converted into its solid state when cold is known as fizzing. For example, water is cold. is freeze and turn back into ice. That is fizzing. Example of fizzing. Next difference between boiling and evaporation. Okay, my dear viewers, first point, the process in which a liquid gets converted into vapor state when heated at particular temperature is known as boiling. The process in which liquid gets converted into vapor state is known as evaporation. Next point, boiling occur rapidly whereas evaporation occur slowly. Evaporation occurs at any temperature, whereas boiling occurs at a particular, that is specific temperature. Okay. Next question type, give the reasons for the following. First, bursting of crackers in an exothermic changes. What is reaching? Bursting of cracker is an exothermic reaction as when a cracker burst as large amount of energy is released and it explodes. That is the exothermic changes. Next, boiling is a physical change. What is the reason? The boiling water is a physical change because gaseous water produced is chemically identical to the liquid water. That is, both of them have the same molecular structure of water. Okay, all chemical changes are permanent. Chemical change is permanent change because entirely new substance with the new properties are formed and there this part change cannot be reversed. Okay, that is the chemical change are permanent. Okay. Next, rusting of iron is a chemical change. When the iron is exposed to air and moisture, rust formation take place. Rust is iron oxide, a new substance from out of reaction. The color of the substance of the iron also changes. Hence, rusting of iron is a chemical change. Okay. Next question type, distinguish between the desirable and undesirable changes. Desirable changes. Changes that are useful to us are known as desirable changes. Example, cooking of food, repairing of foods, blooming of a flower, etc. Undesirable changes, and that is changes that are harmful to us as known as undesirable changes. Example, rotting of fruits and vegetables, soil erosion, rusting of iron, etc. Okay. Next question type, define the endothermic changes. Changes in which there is absorption of energy in the form of heat are known as endothermic changes. For example, cooking of food. Okay. Next question type, give two example of physical change which are irreversible. Means to the example which are irreversible. Mainly physical sense reversible. Cutting of glass, that is cutting glass or pulverizing a rod are example of irreversible physical changes. Chopping wood for a fire also represents an irreversible physical change since the pieces cannot be put back together to form the tree. Next question, how are following changes different from each other? Number one, changing of milk into curd. Hot milk become cold milk. Number one, that is changing of milk into curd. Changing of milk to curd is a chemical change because cannot be reversed. Next point, there is the next question, hot milk become cold milk. Hot milk become cold milk is due to change in temperature, only change in temperature. No change take place in the chemical state. That is the physical change. This point is this change is the physical change. Next, give two example each of physical and chemical changes. Example of physical change include cutting of paper, melting butter, dissolving salt in water, and breaking glasses. Okay, a chemical change occur when matter is changed into one or more different type of matter. Examples of chemical changes include rusting, wear, and cooking of food. Next question is magnetization of an iron nail, a physical change. Explain. Magnetization of iron is a physical change and not a chemical change, as there is no change of state, no change of temperature, no smell, and no evaporation of gas. It is because no chemical process is involved, that is physical change. Okay. Next question, distinguish between reversible and irreversible changes. Explain with help of example. Reversible changes. Changes that can be reversed. That is, can get back into original substance by changing the condition that brought about the change are known as reversible change. Example, melting of ice. Okay. Next, difference with irreversible. Changes that cannot be reversed. That is, we cannot get back the original substance by changing the condition that brought about the change are known as irreversible change. Cooking of rice is the example of irreversible changes. Next question, a change can be desirable at one time or undesirable at another time. Justify this statement with the example. This is this type question of the conceptual question. Yes, for the example, if you want to cut and milk, then it will be desirable change. And it want to make a tea, but the milk is cut at that time, you cannot able to make a tea. Hence, this is cause this will be an undesirable change. Okay. Next question type, what are the difference between physical and chemical changes? Difference between physical and chemical changes. Point number one, no new substance with new property are found. But the chemical change, new substance with new property are found. Second point, it can, that is the physical change, can be reversed by simple physical method. But chemical change cannot be reversed by the simple physical method. Third point, physical change, that is, it is temporary change. Chemical change, that is, it is permanent change. Next question type, explain evaporation as a physical change. What is reason? Evaporation of water is a physical change. When water evaporates, it changes from the liquid state to the gas state. But it is still water. It has no changes into any other substance. All changes of state are physical change. My dear viewers, next question explain the following. Number one, rusting of iron. Number two, curding of milk. Number one, rusting of iron. Rusting of iron is the example of chemical changes. Rusting is an oxidation reaction. The iron react with water and oxygen to form hydrated iron oxide, that is ferric oxide, which we see as rust. Okay, here is the word equation for the reaction iron plus water plus oxygen form hydrated iron oxide, that is ferric oxide. Next, curding of milk. Curding is the process that involves conversion of milk into curd by a bacterium called lactobacillus. This bacterium convert lactose present in the milk to lactic acid. This gives a sour taste to the curd. Okay, this property, the property of curd are different from those of milk. It is an irreversible change as cannot get back milk from the curd. Hence, it is a chemical change. Okay, next question, that is the last question of this part, that is part 3. Explain the concept of energy changes in physical and chemical changes with example. For example, when solid dry ice vaporized, physical change, carbon dioxide molecule absorbs energy. When liquid water becomes ice, energy is released. Energy change in chemical reaction result from the breaking and forming of bond. For bond to break, energy must be absorbed. When new bond form, energy will be released. Thank you, my dear viewers. Thank you, my dear students. Okay, thank you.